Vault Dwellers, Wastelanders, ghouls, and super mutants, and snallygasters, and moth people. Welcome back to the show. This is the Fallout Lorecast. This is your home for all of the Fallout lore and all of the creepy things that go bump in the wasteland. I am your host, Tom, or Robots, and I am back with my good partner, my partner in crime, my partner in creepiness, my spooky daughter, Lainey Neos Pandora.
Wow.
You're
what an honor.
My spooky
Thank
child.
you.
My spooky kid.
Yes.
My spookin. Spookin? Is that a thing?
That's strange.
That is strange. I feel like that needs to be like a series of products of like little itty bitty kid toys that are like really spooky.
Make them. Do it.
Spookins. You buy them, you get them in like little eggs and you open them up and they're like creepy little guys with big heads. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a new thing. I just invented it. $1 million idea. I invented it right here. Can't steal it. I invented it right
copyright,
here.
Robots,
Copyright.
Patent. Robots.
Patented. What's going on, Neos Pandora? How are you?
Oh, I'm good. You know.
I know.
The same.
No.
The same as always.
Same as always. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm excited about this episode because we have some patrons here with us to talk about the creepy things in the wasteland to cap this month. And we're going a little bit long because this episode is coming out after the end of Spooktober. But you know what? Spooptober, there's so much spoop in Tober that it goes on a little bit long because you just can't contain it. So why not? Why not let it extend a little bit? And with us this month, we have 3 of our patrons. And first, we're going to start with Stagger and Stumble, who is back. Stagger, I know you've been working a lot, buddy. I know you've been kicking butt in the job department, and it's time to relax and talk about the creepiness of Fallout. How are you doing, buddy? Welcome back to the show.
I am doing great. Very excited to be back. It's been kind of lonely at work.
Yeah.
I kind of missed the conversation in the Discord, not having to talk about work stuff all the time. I know my girlfriend's sick of me talking about work stuff all the time.
Yeah, I can believe that, you know. But hey, you've got us to talk to tonight, and we're going to cover all the creepy things that, you know, get under your skin and make it crawl around and, you know, make your hair stand on end. So it's going to be fun. And then we also have Katamari Junkie joining us again. Katamari, good to see you. Welcome back.
Thanks. Glad to be back. Another month.
Another month. Also, speaking of creepy, you've got a creepy black cat there eyeing you from behind like it's going to eat you in the background.
No, she's cute. That's Iris.
Creepy black cat. It's going to eat you. That's what cats do. They try to eat you. Also, we have Reaper joining us. Reaper, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Good. It's my first time, actually, so.
Yeah, welcome. I'm glad you're joining us. And
thanks. I actually recently finished, I guess you could call it year 1 of the podcast. The podcast,
yeah, got through year 1 and man, catching up on the content. There is a lot of content now. There are 169 as of the end of this week. There will be 169 episodes up. That is a lot. That's a lot of episodes, buddy. And you just made your way through the whole first year of content.
Yeah, like 2 weeks, I think.
Wow. Man, well, I'm glad you found us, and I'm glad you signed up for the Patreon and are able to join us on this episode. This is super fun. So let's kick this off. Okay, so I've been talking about creepy stuff with guests all month. This is your show, and what I want to hear from you guys are the things about Fallout, the things about the games that really get under your skin, the things that creep you out the most. And we were chatting on Discord about this a little bit. And Stagger, when I mentioned it in the Discord, you were saying that, hey, what are we going to talk about tonight? And I mentioned the creepy thing. And you said mole rats. And this has not come up yet this month. You said mole rats. And I've got some ideas about why that is, but why mole rats?
In general, like the animals kind of freak me out. I also have mods on like all the Fallout games that I can, like 3-4 New Vegas, that like make the animals move faster and more like animal-like and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And there's something about like, I don't know how to describe it. Just like the movement of animals, like very quick, jerky, like sprinting at you really fast.
Erratic?
Very unsettling. Yeah.
The erratic movement of animals, the like kind of unsettling nature. You don't know what to expect kind of thing going on.
Yeah, I was being somewhat tongue in cheek with the mole rat comment.
Well, they do kind of pop out of the ground, and once they start coming at you, they do that thing where they like pop out of the ground, and then if you don't kill them, they'll dig back into the ground, and then they'll kind of track you for a while, and then they'll pop out at the most inopportune times, and they do that sound where it's like where they come out. I can imagine that being unsettling, especially when you aren't too familiar with the world yet. But
that's the same kind of thing that you said was unsettling for you about the Mothman running into him.
The Mothman going like poof, up into the air.
Yeah, he just disappears and then comes back. Yeah.
Also, the rad scorpions do the same thing. I had when I jumped back into New Vegas for the first time in years, I started a new character and I restarted an old save. I just picked an old save from an old character, and I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what build I was, no idea what gear I was, no idea how far into the game I was. And I restarted an old character. And sure enough, I was at some point in the map, didn't know what I was doing. And the first thing I ran into was a rad scorpion, and it just started following me around, and I didn't know what was going on. And I tried running away from it. The thing chased me halfway across the entire map. I couldn't get rid of it. And it was that thing where it would like burrow under the ground. I couldn't attack it, couldn't do anything. And so all of a sudden it would like right up next to me. And the character was not in a good situation. I didn't have much in the way of stim packs or any like really solid health or armor or anything. And so it just kept chasing me. And I finally climbed up on top of some buildings in order to try to get away from it. And it kept chasing me anyway. And I finally stopped noticing it, and I thought I got rid of it and then jumped off the building again. Sure enough, the thing was still tracking me, even though I wasn't on the ground, and it kept chasing me until it killed me. And so, rad scorpions, sons of bitches. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I accidentally, there was that golden rad scorpion. I didn't know what it was, and I shot it. Didn't barely do any damage to it. Mm-hmm. I could not get away from him. Mm-hmm. I had to die for that one.
Yeah. So the idea of, creatures in the world being scary, I can totally get that, especially as they become more and more mutated, infected. In Fallout 76, you have the scorched plague, and they start to look like the skin starts to look like bacon that's been a little bit, cooked too long. That gets kind of gross. So yeah, I get that. So Stagger, you saying it was kind of a half of a joke. What else stands out to you as something that, like, when you first jumped into Fallout and you didn't have much of a background with the games, what was one of the first things that really kind of hit you as like unexpected, creepy, like, oh, this, I didn't think this game was going to go here.
So like, as I played through the game, like, I was over and over like surprised by the actions of like others. So like, I guess how do I describe the depravity of my fellow man?
Yeah.
And the games became very unsettling, or like how normalized like things like violence and sexual violence and slavery and fucking all kinds of other like depraved fucked up shit was.
Yeah. Yeah. Man being the worst monster of all.
Like a good example of like in Fallout New Vegas, what is that guy's name? Barton Thorne. Like when he's like, hey, like my girlfriend's being attacked. Can you help me? Like with the geckos and stuff. And you like go up the cliff and you like kill the geckos and you find that little like cache of like treasure and stuff. And then he just shows up and he's like, hey, thanks for that. Like now I'm going to kill you. Just how like little things like that happen all the time, and how normalized it is and how you can't trust anybody. And like you really get to see like the worst of humanity in Fallout. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that hit you kind of sideways. That you were like, oh, this is dark.
Yeah, I guess like I mentioned it before in the podcast. Like I've had issues with substance abuse. I've been incarcerated. I've been homeless. Like, so I've gotten to like get like a firsthand glimpse of a lot of these like really unsavory aspects of humans, or like what people are capable of even in real life. So like it kind of hits closer to home when I see it in the video game, because I know like people really are messed up.
Right. Yeah, and it seems like there's a lot of people in Fallout that are that way. I mean, there's a lot of people in the real world that are that way too, but there's a lot who aren't. It just depends on what circles you run in. There's a lot of people who try to not be that way. But in a post-apocalyptic setting, it feels like, especially when you're kind of out there in the wasteland on your own, there's a lot of people you run into that are just in dire straits, and they're kind of willing to screw over whoever in order to survive. It's kind of what you run into. We also got Pie Man, our Liberty Pie Man, able to join us this week. He just popped into the chat. How's it going, Pie Man?
I'm doing good. I actually forgot about this, to be honest.
Hey, you got in just after we started. Welcome. How's it going? You doing good?
Good. I'm in Joplin, Missouri right now.
Joplin, Missouri. Well, Missouri loves company, so.
Funny.
Well, I'm glad you're able to join us. You got the joke. We're talking about the things in Fallout that creep us out the most. And Stagger brought up the idea that, just the humans, the depravity of human nature is one of the things that really got under his skin when he first started playing Fallout. And also, and you put here in the chat, Cazadors. That's another thing that nobody brought up this last month during all the interviews. Cazadors are terrible. They're so, man. Yeah, screw those guys. Like, nobody likes Cazadors in New Vegas. They're just, you just don't want to have to fight those guys ever. So, okay. So that's your list of, like, totally don't want to deal with them. Totally get that. Katamari, when it comes to Fallout, what gets under your skin? And I'm talking, like, not even just enemies that you don't want to deal with. What really creeps you out?
I think the first thing in the Fallout series that really, really creeped me out, it was in Fallout 4, going through that. It's in Salem. There's that where there's a death claw trapped in the building. Mm-hmm. You're like walking through the building, and then you hear like the creaks in the floors. You hear it thudding around in other rooms. It was terrifying to go through.
Yes, a number of people this month on our chats have brought that up, and I think what's particularly terrifying about that kind of situation is the impending doom of it. That feeling of like, I know what that sounds like. I'm pretty sure what that is. I'm pretty sure that I'm stuck in here with it.
It's figuring out that it was a death claw and knowing that I was in this tiny building with like no real hiding spots or places to get around. And I'm about to be cornered with this beast.
Right.
And I was terrified.
Right. It's the figuring out the direness of the situation and then your imagination playing with it at the same time. Like, human beings are pretty good at piecing things together, and then our imaginations play through this scenario of like, okay, how is this gonna go? Like, these are the variables here. Death claw, limited amount of space. This is what I brought with me into the building. This plus this minus this equals Yeah, I can totally see that. And when we talked with Nate on the previous episode, he had a lot to do with the lighting and the environment in that building, which of course adds to the tension of that, because it's really dark and kind of misty in there, if I recall. It's dimly lit, so it's not like you're walking into like a brightly lit supermarket and all of a sudden you could see a Deathclaw's head peeking up over the shelves on the other side of the no, it's a dark place, and that adds to the ominous nature of the situation.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a oh crap moment for sure. Is there anything else that really stands out to you?
I think that was the only thing that really stuck in my mind, except for the first time I met a super mutant in Fallout 3, after completely burning the first town and not knowing what I was doing and not knowing what kind of enemies were in Fallout.
Yeah.
And I ran to a super mutant with like 5 rounds of ammo, and I'm like, oh.
Oops. Excuse me, sir. These 5 rounds will probably just tickle you, won't they? Yeah. I think that's part of the wonderful quality of the game is not always knowing the full extent of what you're going to run into and what's really out there, especially the first time you play it. That first experience of like, okay, what even is a super mutant? Or do you guys remember in Fallout 3 when the first time you run into a behemoth? You remember this? Yeah, Pieman's nodding. Some of you guys are nodding.
Yes.
Pieman, go ahead. Do you remember this? You get through the metro and you come out the other side. You're trying to get to the radio station and Three Dog.
It took me forever.
Yeah.
It took me forever because while playing Fallout before I found mods in Fallout 4, I would have the toughest time finding ammo because I would always have ammo, just wouldn't be for the right gun. I would always go at this behemoth with like nothing but a hunting knife.
Oh, geez. Yeah,
and like nothing.
Yeah. So you're going through the metro. You're trying to get to Three Dog and the radio station, and you come out of the metro there in the middle of DC, and that's where the behemoth was. That's the first time you run into a behemoth, and you later on learn that like the super mutants can continue to get larger. Like this strain of super mutant actually can get bigger and bigger, and that idea just kind of blows your mind at that point. Like, oh my God, these things were big to begin with. And you're introduced to them with the Brotherhood. You come across these dudes in power armor with laser guns fighting these super mutants, and you're going, okay, these are formidable things for these dudes in power armor with laser guns to be having a hard time fighting them. And then all of a sudden they throw a gigantic one at you, and it's like, oh crap, okay, great, wonderful. So I remember that being a particularly horrifying situation.
That and the fire ants in Great Edge.
Oh yeah, speaking about animals, we were talking about animals too. Do you guys remember the fire ants? Do you remember dealing with them? Lainey's nodding her head.
They kick your butt.
Yeah.
I'm happy Bethesda didn't bring them back. I absolutely hated them so much.
Yeah.
Because when it'd be like you would attack one, and then like 6 more would be around the corner, just ready. It always seemed like that. So I always whenever I played Fallout 3, I'd always steer clear of Grey Ditch at all costs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people have that fear of spiders, but I feel like very large ants probably have a very similar quality. They're not exactly spiders, but they're kind of spider-like in the fact that they've got the long legs and the mandibles. Running into a giant spider is probably similar in some ways to running into a big ant. They're kind of similar, at least I would think. I don't have a big fear of spiders, but big insects, not particularly great to run into. I think that's up on my list as well. Katamari, do you have any other? Nothing else really stands out? Super mutants.
No, those are the 2 things that really terrified me when I played.
Yeah. Man, good stuff. Let's see. Let's move on to Reaper. When it comes to Fallout, what really stands out to you about uncomfortable, scary, getting under your skin situations?
I would say, so I mostly played Vegas and 4.
Mm-hmm, okay.
So I would say the Sierra Madre, the first and only time I went in there, because of the cloud. Uh-huh. The first and only time I went in there was the last time. I just said, no, sorry. Because that was a lowish level, if I can remember correctly.
Okay, so you entered it relatively early then.
Yes, because I had all the DLCs. I'm like, oh, what's this quest?
Right.
Never mind. Kind of deal.
Yeah, I think you have to be at least, level 15, if I recall, to get in there? Is it level 15, Pieman, or you're nodding your head?
It's close to it.
What was that, Stagger?
Yeah, it's recommended.
Recommended, level 15 to get in there? Yeah, some of them have, level, there's, a limit before you can go in, or it's, a recommended level. But, yeah. Okay, so what? Yeah, New Vegas. Talking about New Vegas. New Vegas, I find to be darker than Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, because the team that designed New Vegas had a lot of the same. Some of the same members that were part of the original development team for 1 and 2, and that original team, Stagger was saying, dealt with some of the topics that I think Bethesda just hasn't really touched anymore. Some of the things they bring up in New Vegas are topics that they don't bring up in the mainline Bethesda titles. Like, they stay away from certain topics that come up in New Vegas. Did you feel that way, Reaper? Like, going from New Vegas to 4, that some of the topic areas in New Vegas were just for example, you go to the Strip, right? And you've got the casinos on the Strip. On the casinos on the Strip, you have prostitution, you have eating humans, you have and eating humans does come up in other Bethesda stuff, but slavery, some of these darker topics and the way they cover them there's just this sense that the Bethesda team plays things off a little bit lighter and a little bit more jokey, and the team for New Vegas and 1 and 2 play things off as just a lot more grim, and the tone was just darker.
Yeah, because or most some of the people in Obsidian also from the creators of 1 and 2.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So
that probably influenced it a whole lot.
Yeah. And there's even just some of the characters that you come across just have this this grimness to them. They're just darker characters. They tend to be a little bit more, I don't know, there's more desperation. There's more struggle in their pasts. There's more murder and like Stagger was talking about, personal abuse and rape and these kinds of really dark things in their pasts. And you don't get as much of that. There's still some of that, but it just doesn't get as much that way. I don't know. That's what I think of when I think of New Vegas, and that being your that was your first foray. And do you start with New Vegas and then get to? Yeah, 4?
I started to New Vegas, then 4.
Yeah.
And I very, very briefly played 3, but I put it down. Mm-hmm. I mostly mod 4 now. Mess with mods in it in 4.
Cool. So when you play 4, is there anything in 4 that stands out as particularly creepy?
No, not really. As you said, I feel like Bethesda kind of lightens up some of the topics that was in New Vegas.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There are some really creepy mods for 4 that I've been waiting to try out. I need to make a point to do it. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, because I think you said did a mod joke where it was all foggy, Silent Hill-esque, I think.
Yes. Jessica Starr mentioned that one when she was on the show, and I actually followed up with her about that, and I've meant to download it, install it. I just haven't taken the time to do it. What was it called? I'll have to look it up. I'll post it again on the Discord if I can find it again. But yeah, that looks really interesting. Taking the environment and making it look really dark, like Silent Hill, and creating a really limited view distance and making it very creepy. And I think it also adds in other creatures and other monsters and things that don't exist in Fallout. So it really adds ups the whole creep level for the game, which is pretty cool. So yeah. So anything else in Fallout that in general that also stands out to you as anything when you first started playing, is there anything else that really just got under your skin?
The centaurs, I think. Yeah, the centaurs.
Oh yeah.
In New Vegas.
Yeah.
Because I was traveling along, just walking along. Then the centaur. Mm-hmm. I think it was the centaur or rad scorpion, just out of nowhere.
Yeah. The centaurs.
Yeah,
that hits the level of body horror, right? That's a completely different kind of creepiness. This idea of taking body parts and them coming out of a chest or an extra arm, or and the centaurs are it's like a human torso with a head, but then it's like a tacked on extra human torso that comes out the back with extra arms that like walk around like this. And for anybody who's listening to the audio version of the show, I'm doing creepy arm things to make it look like walking. Yeah, I remember those being particularly disturbing when first seeing those and thinking like, what the heck is that thing? And I remember very on purpose not getting close to them. Just thinking like, I just kind of noped out of that. I was like, I'm not walking up to those. Did you guys have similar responses to those? How did you guys respond to centaurs when you first came across them? And feel free to chime in, anybody.
I haven't met yet.
Oh, you haven't played New Vegas?
I just started.
Oh, okay.
Because everyone's telling me that New Vegas is the best out of them, and I have an Xbox in here now, so I've been trying to catch up on my New Vegas. But I almost came across one the other day.
Yeah.
And yes, I was like, what is that? That shouldn't be there. Also side note. Side note, in Fallout 3 they do talk about slavery.
Yes, yeah, the topics do come up in 3 and 4 and 76, but it's the way they cover them aren't as detailed.
It's not as dark.
Or dark. Yeah, there's something about the way they cover them.
Dark as New Vegas.
I agree. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Stagger, what were you going to say about centaurs?
I shot the shit out of them, dude.
Yeah.
Once violently and aggressively.
Yeah, once I started engaging them, I was like, this thing, I'm putting it out of its misery. I kind of felt bad for them because they look enough like people that you feel like, oh God, that's a human, sort of, or was at one time, right? Like, I don't know. That was my feeling.
Speaking of centaurs, any of you guys play Fallout 1?
I mean, I've dabbled in it. I haven't spent a ton of time playing it. I've watched playthroughs, but I haven't spent a whole lot of time playing it myself.
The master is like complete body horror.
Oh my God. Yes.
Holy fuck, dude.
Yes. We talked. So when Ken was on the show, he brought up the master as being like his most horrifying experience ever in Fallout. And if you don't know who the master is, he's kind of the main bad guy in Fallout 1. And his face is basically fused with like a computer monitor, and it's like dripping around the computer. It looks like his skin is just like dripping and formed with the computer monitor. He even has a tentacle eye that comes out from his forehead and like comes propped up and kind of looking around.
And the voices, like it'll go from like an adult man's voice, like a little girl's voice, to like a bunch of voices all together, and like just man, that was perfect, like horror.
Yeah,
I kind of regret Googling that right now. I never played the first Fallout.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. And
my God, this
is the origins of the game. Like this is like the master this is the beginning of the FEV, what this, post-apocalyptic world can do to he was a brilliant mind who then mutated and fused with this computer technology and then used super mutants in order to try to further his goals in the wasteland. And when you finally come across him and actually see what he looks like, it's just like, oh my God. Yeah, it's pretty messed up looking. Yeah, solid point, Stagger. He is absolute body horror. And body horror is one of those things that comes up in the games every so often. You get something that's just total body horror. Snallygaster from 76 is body horror. It's got multiple eyes running all over it. It's scary. Yeah, it looks like this weird mutated animal that's just kind of pieced together in body parts in weird places that it shouldn't be in. It's a weird body horror thing for sure. Absolutely. Lainey, how do you feel about any of the things that we've brought up so far? I know we've been chatting away.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that more people don't bring up the master because it's terrifying, but I guess it is dependent on you knowing what he looks like.
Yeah.
So
yeah, a lot of people don't play. Or
that makes sense.
Didn't play 1. It was a long time ago, 20 years ago now, or older than that. Absolutely. The Grafton monster. Yeah. Another kind of body horror kind of monster because it's lacking a head. It doesn't have a head, it's super weird looking. Oh, and the mod for Fallout 4 is called Whispering Hills. I found it in my conversation with Jessica. So if you're looking for a really cool spooky mod for Halloween or this time of year, Whispering Hills for Fallout 4. Look it up. It'll do it for you. I think it'll be fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I was just thinking also about kind of body horror. The Flatwoods monster, right? You don't notice just looking at it, but you've seen what it looks like inside of its suit, right? Mm-hmm. That's pretty creepy.
Yeah, I mean, it's an alien, but it's not just a regular proportioned Zayton like the others.
No, the top half is pretty normal, but then as it goes down its body, it's kind of shriveled, as if it's not, it's not really using those muscles anymore. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that half the body's dead almost. It's really gross.
Yeah, yeah. And you have to wonder, like, did that happen because it was put in the suit, or was it a physically injured, or was it, like a Zayton?
I think we talked about them. I think that they maybe are, that's just how they are. I can't remember.
Yeah, but it could be a number of scenarios on something like that.
Right.
But yeah, it is a little bit odd. It's an oddity. Well, tell you what, we're halfway through the episode. Why don't we take a break to thank our patrons, these guys, and the other people who have helped support the show, and we'll come back in a minute and continue talking about the creepy stuff in Fallout. So we'll be right back.
Hello there, old chap. Good to see another of General Atomic's finest, still eager to serve.
All right, so we currently have a big round number of 50 patrons. Holy moly. Thank you to all of our patrons. And at the top of our patron list is, of course, our Liberty Pie Man. He's right down there. Look at that guy right there. Liberty Pie. Thank you so much, Pie Man. Thank you for supporting the show. You've been our biggest supporter for such a long time now. We really do appreciate it, all the support you give the show. So thank you so very much for that. Also, this guy over here, Stagger and Stumble, and Southern Rage, supporting us at the SentryBot tier, get calls out every week. So thank you for supporting our show at that tier as well. And then all of the Assaultrons, some of these guys on the show and others who weren't able to be here this week are at the level that can help us out and also join us on the show every month. So thank you to you guys and everyone else who supports the show. So thank you, everybody. We really do appreciate it. Lainey and I appreciate the support. You help us to keep this going, to make this a full-time thing for us, and we couldn't do it without you. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you very, very, very much. And if we help you get through your workday, your drive to work, your workout, or working on your stretching, because stretching is important for health reasons, because you got to stay limber. You got to stay limber. It's not just for gymnasts anymore. Keep on stretching, keep the circulation going in your body. And if you listen to podcasts while you stretch, then go check out patreon.com/Fallout Lorecast and see if there's a tier that you like. And that's all I'm going to say. Why don't we get back to the show? Here we go.
If you have any questions about Nuka World, I'd be delighted to answer them.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about stretching today. All right, so here we are, back with the show. Pie Man, when you first jumped here, Pie Man reporting for duty. Pie Man, when you first started playing Fallout, what was the first thing that really creeped you out?
Okay, so the first Fallout I ever played was number 3. Mm-hmm. I was a young kid then. You were a young Pie Man. You were like a mini pie. You were like a little mini pie.
You were a pie boy.
You were a pie boy. Yeah. It was Pie Boy.
Uh-huh. You're like a little mini, like the little pies that you get at the gas station, like the little ones that they put up on the end cap, like those little little ones. Yeah.
Yeah, those single serve ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first thing that ever scared or creeped me out a lot was it wasn't from Fallout 3. There was a lot of stuff that creeped me out Fallout 3, but mostly what creeped me out the most was actually from Fallout 4 when you first meet the Minutemen, Preston Garvey, that dude.
He's pretty creepy.
That dude is pretty creepy, but also when you get onto the roof of the museum, after you get all the power armor and the stuff, all of a sudden all of a sudden it's I know we've already talked about it, like this creature, the Deathclaw that's coming. All of a sudden, after you're done, or like in the middle of killing raiders, all of a sudden you see a Deathclaw come up from the street. I'm thinking, what the heck? I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
I almost thought about running away because I barely had anything at that point, and it was super creepy. The other thing that
here really, let's talk about that for a second, because that thing just like climbs out of the ground, and it's right at the beginning of the game. You're not that far along, and all of a sudden they're throwing a Deathclaw at you, and then it starts tossing cars. Do you remember this? It starts throwing cars at you. You guys can feel free to chime in too, because there's not too many of us on the chat right now. But if you guys want to chime in with any specific memories, I remember this thing like throwing cars at me and just barely dodging into buildings to avoid cars being thrown on top of me. And that being like particularly stressful. Like, oh my God, this is what this fight is going to be right now. This is what's happening. Cool. Okay. Thanks, game.
Speaking of Deathclaws, the first Fallout game I played was New Vegas, and I was wandering around, not doing the quests and just like exploring the map. And I went to Prim Pass, where that blind Deathclaw is. And I saw it, and it was like blind Deathclaw. I'm like, it's all like old and crippled and fucked up. Like, I'm totally gonna kill it. And like I shot it, and it did like nothing at all. And I was like, beans.
Beans. You're like, I got you, blind Deathclaw. And then you're like, pink. Like your billet just kind of bounces off of him. And you're like, oh, crap.
I had a varmint rifle.
Yeah, my varmint rifle is meant for shooting varmints, not Deathclaws. I guess I'll just tickle this thing to death. And you probably only had 20 rounds at that point anyway. And so you probably didn't even have enough bullets to kill it. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. So, Pyman, back to your experiences. So the Deathclaw at the beginning of 4. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Yeah. It sort of screwed me up with everything. But another thing, I'm going to be flip-flopping between games because I just like doing that.
Dude, go for it. Yeah.
So from Fallout 3, when I was just a wee old pie boy, you know when the raiders, when you're near a raider camp and all of a sudden you start seeing heads on pikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you see dismemberment, or when you're near what are they called? Super mutant, like a hideout. All of a sudden you start seeing blood, gore everywhere, and like in these cages and yeah. Me as a wee pie boy thinking, what did I get myself into? like seriously, what did I get myself into? Why did my mom let me play this game?
What was my mom thinking? Did your mom even know you were playing this game as a wee pie boy?
Yeah, she knew.
Okay, all right.
And she was there when I bought it.
Did she read the box? Like, M for mature, rated M for extreme violence, language.
My mom is very progressive.
Gore.
You let me play these games when I was just a wee pie girl.
You weren't that little. You were a teenager by the time you were playing Fallout.
I mean, granted, I was playing. Yeah, you were. I was playing Grand Theft Auto at that time too, like 1, 2, and Vice City.
Yeah. But like the violence in Grand Theft Auto is like shooting rocket launchers at cars and helicopters. I mean, there's a little bit more
totally different topic.
It's completely different. Like coming across a super mutant camp with a bunch of skulls in a bone bag. And we were talking to Nate Perkypile in the last episode, and he's like, he was really proud of designing the lighting fixture in 3 that was effectively a corpse packed inside of a corpse packed inside of a corpse with a light in it. Mm-hmm. Like that's on a completely different level than anything you come across in Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to stick with number 3 at the moment. It's basically the whole DLC of the pit right there. Me as a wee pie boy thinking, they really did that?
Humans
Why
are really
would
that
you do that?
really that gross and mean and terrible?
Yeah, like, I mean, I got over it eventually, but it was like there's a lot of things because way down the line in one of these other Patron episodes, I don't know if I said it on stream or not, but I'm high functioning autistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned that before.
Everything like that goes to my imagination, and it's like, could this actually be real? Could this actually happen? Oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? Oh my gosh, people can be that mean. Oh my gosh. It's like that. But eventually, when I got older, grew into my pie man self, it was a lot better. It got better. It didn't creep me out because I'd been playing a lot. I'd beaten the game like 3 times already at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So
you realize that you didn't have to worry about, corpse bags being around the next corner in your neighborhood somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, when you go into the first super duper mart in Fallout 3, that was my first time dealing with actual raiders and like everything like that, and it was like, really, people would do that, and it really creeped me out. But it was fascinating at the same time, and how Bethesda did like this fight or flight scenario, but they blew the flight aspect out. They basically burned it to death, really. Well, these raiders.
Yeah. Putting you in a situation where, like, in some cases, people couldn't run away. They were stuck in the situation. Mm-hmm. So what did they do? They went crazy. That kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Then this goes back to what Stagger was talking about at the beginning. This idea of the depravity of humans, the potential, like the creepiness of it, and the horror of what people could potentially do in situations like this when they are, stressed out, in dire need of survival, willing to do anything to survive, and the terrible things that they would do to each other. And how that, it's the depravity of man. It's what's the book with the children that are on the island together? Lord of the Flies, right? Mm-hmm. These themes in literature come around and around and around. This idea of like the terrible things that humans are capable of doing to each other because we're intelligent and we're diabolical, and we're animals. We're going to do what we can to survive. And if it comes at the detriment of other people around us, so be it. Many of us will do it no matter what. Some of us won't. Some of us will stand for the greater good. Some of us will stand for morality. Some of us will stand together against those things, but a lot of people won't. And it creates interesting stories, but it also creates really terrible moments and really creepy situations. So, and I think
I got one more.
Oh, go ahead. One more. Go for it.
So this actually happened this morning while I was waiting at a Walmart distribution center in Oklahoma. Great place. So I was playing Fallout 4 on my Xbox back here, and I came across in a bus. On a bus, there was a skeleton. I didn't think anything of it at the time until I saw it wasn't an adult skeleton. It was like a child-sized skeleton. And then there on the seat there was a teddy bear. And that really creeped me out a little bit. Like to where I was in a wee pie boy standards.
Oh no, you went back to pie boy in your brain.
Yeah, a little bit, and then I was like, I was on a mission at that point because right now I'm playing as an assassin. My playthrough as an assassin, so I can't be like, but yeah, me personally, that creeped me out so much this morning. It was like it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
and I didn't know how I didn't catch it when I first. Because I didn't really notice those sort of things, and now that I've beaten the game like 4, 5, 6 times,
The environmental storytelling, like the environmental situations. Yeah. Yeah. Do the rest of you guys, does that affect you guys? Do you guys notice the environmental storytelling in the game where you come across a situation, you see the remnants of something and you piece it together and you go, I think this is what happened here. And then all of a sudden it dawns on you and you go, oh, that's really dark. Does anything, do you have any memories of anything specific that really stands out and you go, oh man. One that I particularly like is the insane asylum in 76. There are rooms in the insane asylum where you get the remnants of what might have been situations that occurred. So, letter blocks that spell out red rum in the insane asylum. It's a callback, right, to a movie, but the situation that was going on there also plays into what may have happened in that situation. Or
there's this one in 76, I believe, in the penitentiary. That's how you say that, right? Mm-hmm. Where there's in one of the cells, there's a guy in a bathtub with a toaster, right? Dead body bathtub toaster, and then outside of it, it says "please" in blocks with a W, and then there's water, so it says "please water," and then the dude is dead in the bathtub with a toaster.
Oh, yeah. I also like it when people take like the bears and the like furniture and the things and the gnomes and make situations with them and like the remnants of those in the environment. You ever notice those like dark situations, like a bear holding a knife and like holding up a like some other creature, and then like next to it is like the corpse of somebody. But there are some really sad situations too, where you can just find like a skeleton, on a park bench with a newspaper, and you're like, oh, that was some guy who probably just got blown away when the bombs dropped and never even saw it coming, sitting on a park bench, But then there are situations where I'm trying to think of specific ones in particular, but like there are some where it's clearly a situation where like somebody offed themselves because there's a gun in a skeleton's hand and they were in an office building, and like the information, the memo on the desk is alluding to the fact that they owed lots of money, or like these kinds of dark situations where like suicide is alluded to, those kinds of things.
I feel like I've seen the one that you're talking about. I don't remember where, but I feel like I've seen it. Mm-hmm.
And that stuff the games are just riddled with that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And you just have to pay attention.
I've also seen the funny one where it's in 4, where at the apparel place where you got rid of raiders, all of a sudden you open the bathroom, you see a teddy bear with newspaper on the toilet.
Yeah. Those are good too.
That was the first thing that popped into my head when you were talking about them being in weird positions, and I'm like, that's not spooky, but got the little paper on the toilet.
Right. Or the darker side is like the skeleton who's in a toilet, but like their head is stuck in the toilet, like somebody murdered them by drowning them in the toilet and left their body there, like things like that. And it's just like all of these dark situations that you kind of piece together with the remnants of corpses or bones. Some of that stuff's really dark.
Sorry, you can go.
Okay, sorry. Someone comes to mind about what you said, Roberts, was about just people killing themselves, was the beginning of 4, when you first get to Sanctuary. Mm-hmm. You were going through the houses. There's a skeleton in the corner with like tattered clothes on, with I think it was a pipe pistol on the ground next to, like in the corner of one of the houses. So something kind of like that. The idea from the boat flies or just off themselves, I guess.
Yeah. And it might be. And that's the thing, is that like you look around and there might be even more evidence as to what happened there. Like maybe they did, maybe. And it could have been, because in 4, the situation that you're dealing with is like you see a bomb dropping in the distance and you got into the vault. Like maybe that person didn't get into the vault. Right. And so they like ran back to their house, grabbed their gun, saw the explosion in the distance and thought, oh, crap, and then just shot themselves. because they didn't want the bomb to take them out. Like maybe that was it. Or if it was a pipe pistol, maybe that happened after the bombs dropped, because maybe they were somebody who was trying to survive after the bombs dropped and they couldn't, and they were hungry and starving. And so they decided to just off themselves rather than die from starvation. Like these kinds of scenarios play through your mind when you look at these situations, and you're going, and all of them are dark. They're all scary and sad and tragic. And that's the stuff in these games that, like, if you actually take the time to kind of walk through slowly and look at these scenarios and just give it a thought for a second, rather than, like, so much of the time we're just kind of running through these zones collecting all the things, like, especially when you're low on gear and low on resources, or when you want to build stuff in 4 or 76, you're just picking up everything, right? You're just filling your pockets. But if you slow down a little bit and just look at the environment of each room, there's almost always something there. And so much of the time it's just really dark and sad or funny. It's one or the other. It's one extreme or the other. It's either wacky and funny, or it's like super dark and sad. It's like one extreme or the other. So, Pie Man, did you have something else?
I just thought I lied. I just thought of one more that creeped me out, but it wasn't this morning. It was when I first started up Fallout 4. It was after they took I forget his name, took Sean and they killed my character's wife.
Right.
It was after, right when our character got unthawed, and then you realize that you were the only one. Everyone else in that facility dead.
Yeah.
That creeped me out a little bit too, because I don't know. It was just one of those things where it was like, it didn't sit right with me, really, with what I was going through at the time. It just didn't really sit right, but I powered through, because it was the beginning of the game. I'm thinking it can't get much darker than this. Oh boy, I was wrong, but
yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense, because I get it. Like, you're in a situation where everybody's still alive. You walk into this environment, you see all of these people walking in, you see all the staff, everybody's there. You're put into a chamber, you're frozen. You wake up, you see the situation unfold, your wife is killed, your son is taken away, you're thawed again, you're frozen again. You're thawed out, the thing opens up, and the place is a tomb at that point. Everybody else is dead. All the other bodies are dead. You're the only one left alive. You walk through every room. The only living thing left in that place are the rad roaches. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And you make your way out of there, and it's dead. You get up to the surface, and it's basically silent, and there are, like, remains of things around. But it actually takes you a little while before you come across any creatures when you leave that place. Like, the environment is even more barren. Like, when you are going into that vault, you're right. It's like there's colors on the houses. There's life. There's things going on. The grass is green. The trees are greener. When you come back out, everything is more brown. Everything, like, the world has less life in it. And you're right. There's kind of this underlying lifelessness when you are awakened in that vault. And the tone and everything changes. And I can see how that could hit you as being, like, disturbing. Absolutely.
I'm also thinking about in Sanctuary, that the basement of one of the houses that was made into a makeshift bunker. I don't know if that was with the pipe pistol that we were talking about earlier, but that's what my first thoughts when you guys were talking about that, because I saw a skeleton in there, but I didn't see anything with it. I just thought, it's just some doomsday prepper that didn't prep correctly.
Yeah, maybe. Stagger, did you want to add something?
Yeah.
I just thought about in New Vegas, like when you get to Freeside, living in the outskirts of like New Vegas, and you see those little kids chasing that giant rat, and then you shoot the rat, and they like run up and start eating it, and they're like, "Thank you, mister." Yeah, I just remember the first time I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, holy shit, dude!"
Oh no, that's dinner for them. Oh man. Oh yeah, that's pretty dark. Katamari or Reaper, do you have any thoughts on any of this stuff that we've been talking about? Anything you want to chime in with?
So I guess the kind of weird or creepy thing is in Fallout 4 in the witch museum.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little like hidey hole that you need a jetpack to get up into. There's like two skeletons and a knife in one of them on like a table.
Mm.
Because like it's up with like the witch trials and stuff.
Oh, is that a reference to the witch trials?
Yeah, I saw it on a YouTube video. I think a little bit ago. There's like interesting things about Fallout or something like that.
Okay.
There's like a hole in the Museum of Witchcraft. Huh. And there's just like, oh yeah, there's a little hole right here that you need if you have a jetpack to get up to. There's just two bodies and a knife in one of them.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of weird or creepy, I find.
Yeah, it's like a little Easter egg that unless you have a jetpack, you wouldn't even know it's there. Yeah, I didn't know that was there. That's cool.
Yep.
That's cool. Katamari, did you want to say something?
No, I don't think I have anything at the moment.
Okay, I thought you unmuted. I thought you might have wanted to chime in. Man, this is fun. This has been a fun conversation. So here, let's go around and just kind of to wrap this up. Is there one thing in Fallout you find the absolute creepiest? And the way I want to frame this is, if I was to teleport you into the world of Fallout, what situation would you absolutely, like the last situation you would want to be in at all? And this isn't like life or death situation. Like, obviously you wouldn't want to be like in a situation where there's a death claw, like with its mouth open and it's like your head is in its mouth. Like, absolutely, you don't want to be in that situation. I'm talking like, what creepy, let's say environment, what creepy environment would you least want to find yourself in? If you were to close your eyes right now, and then all of a sudden I just snapped my fingers and like, beady-doo, you just kind of poof. And now you're in a situation and you have the exact same things on your body that are currently on your body. And boom, you're now in a new situation. And this isn't a life or death situation. This is a creepy situation. You aren't necessarily in mortal danger, but you might be. You don't know. What environment would you least want to be in when you open your eyes? Stagger?
The Gourmand's kitchen.
Oh man, that's a good one. You wake up and you look around and you realize you're in the Gourmand's kitchen. And you're not a chef. Or are you a chef? Both of those are not great. That's a good one. Katamari?
Honestly, the one thing that jumps to the top of my mind is being stuck in that simulation with those people in the one vault, with the guys controlling everything.
Yeah.
That is the one place I would never, ever want to find myself.
Tranquility Lane. That's pretty creepy.
That's it.
Yeah. With Stanislaus Braun being the creepy little girl. Yeah, absolutely.
I can't imagine anything creepier than that.
Yes, absolutely.
I actually just listened to that episode earlier today at work.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like I said, I have a 10-hour shift, so I'm like listening to like multiple of them the other day.
So, Reaper, do you have a situation that you absolutely wouldn't want to be in?
After saying so, you just complete silence, just like around you.
Okay.
You don't hear anything except maybe some like buzzing or like flies or something like that.
And you'd be out in like the wilderness, like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Okay, so middle of nowhere in the wasteland, you don't know where you are, complete silence, and you don't know what's around the next corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay. All right, Pie Man?
Okay, so mine's just a little bit different than everyone else's because it's not where somewhere I would want to be. It's sort of an Easter egg if you don't know what you're looking for. It's where the Swan,
Mm-hmm.
where he
in the
is.
lake.
Well, in Fallout 4 in Boston.
Right, in the lake. Swan, the
Yeah.
super mutant, right?
Yeah. That's the location. But if you don't know, in the corner, in one of the corners, there's like steps going down to a door. Go into that door. It's actually an Easter egg for the show Cheers.
Oh yeah.
Cheers or Frasier.
Cheers.
I can't remember which one it is.
The Cheers bar. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's full of skeletons, like what it was in the, like where characters were in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Me not knowing that there are a ton of skeletons in there, it creeped me out, and I wouldn't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So, like if poof, I was there, and all of a sudden I see a ton of skeletons. There's not power. It's all dark and dark and everything. Dude, man, I'd be. It'd mess me up.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Mm-hmm. Even though I know that's not the purpose. The purpose that the developers or anyone.
Oh, but yeah, if you were to wake up there, sure.
You kidding me? Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
I get it. That makes sense to me. Lainey, do you have a spot that you absolutely? Yes, she's nodding her head. Yes.
Not like a specific spot, but pretty much any scenario where you're being forced or manipulated into like a raider group or a cult would be the scariest for me, I think.
Okay.
So you're saying like the steel mill, where they're trying to get the young dude to kill the settler.
Yeah, or just
any kind of situation like that, or like they go out of their way sometimes to like get you hooked on drugs, to like get you stuck in with them. Just any of that just sounds awful.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I have to chime in too. So for me, I think it would be terrifying to wake up and look down and realize that I'm not in my own body anymore. I'm in the body of a synth. And then wonder where my body is and if this is who I am, and not have a sense of who I am anymore. That would be terrifying. Because all of a sudden my reality would shatter. And then that would just throw me for a loop. I think that would just be super crazy. So, yeah.
Yeah, what if you were dropped in and you were already like ghoulified, or like
something like that would be very scary too.
Or you were a super mutant.
So I'm thinking like a situation where like you look down, like you look in the mirror and you're a synth, kind of the way that the detective what's his face?
Valentine.
Nick Valentine.
Yeah, like Nick Valentine is clearly a synth. You look in the mirror, you can tell he's a synth. Like that kind of situation. You look in the mirror and basically you look like Nick Valentine. And I look in the mirror and I go, oh, I'm like Nick Valentine now. Who am I really? Have I always been a synth? No, because I wasn't in Fallout. Like, what do I do now? Like, how does this work? Yeah, that would be frightening. Also, now I'm in a world where people hate synths. What do I do? Like, oh, that would be very scary. So that's where I would go. So, man, this has been super fun. Thank you for joining me, everybody. And why don't we go back through and feel free to share anything that you guys are working on, anything you want to share that you're doing, give a call out to, and how people can reach you. And it can be as simple as, hey, give me a shout out on the Discord, or here's my social media, I'm on Twitter or whatever. And why don't we start with Pie Man? Pie Man, you doing anything cool? And how can people get a hold of you?
I've been busy. I've been very busy with work and the other things like the podcast I've been working on, trying to create. But I'm actually creating coming soon media company, like a small time little media company out of my parents' basement.
Okay.
So yeah.
More to come.
Launch trailer
with that, or
yeah, more to come. Yeah, a lot more to come with that starting in 2022.
Okay, cool. Well, if you have something to share,
I've like this big timeline.
Oh, nice. Nice. So yeah. Also, how you can reach me. I'm usually not on Discord as much as I used to be, but I'll occasionally pop in whenever I'm not busy with my company, my new company, working. As you can see, I'm in my truck still. Yep. What's the new company called? Just so people will be able to recognize it as you've got more to reveal.
It'll be called Floyd Entertainment.
Floyd Entertainment. Well, cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Floyd Entertainment. I chose that name because of it's actually in memory of my mom's parents who recently passed away within a year of each other.
Oh wow, well, that's unfortunate.
My mom's last maiden name is Floyd, so I thought and it also rolls off the tongue better, but mostly because of that, because like literally within 6 months to a year between each other, they were both gone. My grandpa died of cancer, and my grandma on my mom's side died of a rare ovarian cancer. Mm-hmm. Not far after he left. So
I'm sorry to hear that, buddy.
I named the company after their last name.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what? When you've got more to share, please share it on the Discord. There's the promote your stuff section on the Discord, and I'm sure you'll pop in here for some future episodes, and you can share more as you've got more stuff to launch. And good luck with that. I'm sorry for the news from your family, and I hope they're doing okay. But that's awesome. Congratulations on, it's always fun to launch a new company and get something new started. So good luck with that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I have a logo finalized. It was actually the one that I showed you guys.
Yeah. I remember seeing it. I remember seeing it on Discord.
Yep.
So cool stuff.
I finalized that last week.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, good luck with all of that. Let's move on to Reaper. Reaper, you doing anything cool you want to share, and how can we get a hold of you?
I'm not doing anything cool, but you can get a hold of me on my Discord. My name there is SG Reaper. So if you need someone to play with, I'm on there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, and I'm glad you got a chance to jump in for your first time. All right, let's move on to Katamari Junkie. You got anything cool going on, and how can we get a hold of you?
Well, I don't think I have anything exciting to share.
That's okay.
But I'm Katamari Junkie. You can find me in the Discord under that name, and I definitely respond if I'm tagged.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll see you on the Discord, and then we've got Stagger and Stumble. What you got?
I made 160 chicken cordon bleus the other day.
That's 160 more chicken cordon bleus than I've ever made. So congratulations.
Yeah, it's somewhat labor intensive. But anyways, I don't really have anything cool going on. I'm at work all the time. After this week, my work week should be a little more manageable. So I will be on the Discord, and my name on there is Stagger_N_Stumble or N_Stumble. Sorry. If anybody wants to hit me up.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad work is starting to chill out for you, and we'll get to see you around the Discord a little bit more. That'll be nice. It'll be nice to have you around. So very cool. And then we've got Neos Pandora. Lainey, you got anything cool going on, or ways people can get a hold of you?
Neos Pandora everywhere. Also on the Discord. Also everywhere else. Come say hi.
Very cool. And then you guys know how to get a hold of me. I've got all my podcasts and shows. We've got the Robots Radio Network, robotsradio.net for all the shows. We've got some new shows joining the Rocket Club. So lots of fun stuff going on there. look in the Discord in the Rocket Club section for all the new shows. There's always new stuff popping up. So if you're looking for some new podcasts, go look in there. We've got some really, really fun new creators creating some awesome new shows with some really cool new ideas. So please go check that out. Also, if you are looking for something to do in the mornings during the week, I have been streaming for over the last month now, every weekday morning, unless there's something that comes up. And it's rare, but I try to do this every single weekday morning, streaming in the mornings from about 8:30 till noon Eastern time. And I've been playing games with the community. People have been hanging out, having an awesome time. It's really been helping me out personally because it gives me people to chat with and helping improve my mood, making my life better because I have friends, which is huge because I spend a lot of time by myself. So come hang out with me, twitch.tv/robotsradio. I would love to see you guys in the stream. And we've got a goal. If we can hit 25 concurrent viewers for a week straight, then I will be giving away a game of whoever wins choice. So with all these new games coming out in the fall and a bunch of awesome games out there, then come hang out. I'd love to give away a game to somebody who's really been wanting to get a hold of something and just can't quite afford it right now. As kind of a thank you to the community. Also, if we can hit 25 in a day, we've got a little chest. There's a little animated chest on my stream that's going to pop open, and there's a prize in there as well. And you guys don't know what the prize is until we get that open. And all it takes is 25 people at the same time showing up in stream. I don't know if you want to coordinate this. It wouldn't be that hard with the size of this audience for somebody just to be like, hey guys, let's all pop in the stream at the same time and pop open that chest. Nobody's figured out how to do that yet. Nobody's actually mastermind this, which I'm surprised about. We've gotten really close. I think we got up to 23 the other day, but one of these days we'll pop open that chest and see what's in there. Anyway, thank you for being here, everybody. Chat, thank you for being here. Patrons, thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. We'll be back next week. And until then, stay safe in the wasteland. We'll see you guys around. Talk to you later. To plug into everything else we're doing, check out robotsradio.net. Also, look up the Robots Radio YouTube for videos about Fallout and other things. And check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/robotsradio.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.